Hi and welcome. On today's show, Bradley Maher shares strategies on how he's able to buy a house every 6 months using the bank's money. So even if you don't have money, you are able to do it following these strategies. Now, since I've been following these strategies, I've been able to buy 2 properties. And guys, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please do take a second and subscribe. Otherwise, you won't get notifications and you won't ever see our videos again. So please do take a second and subscribe. Let's get into it. Hi family, how are you guys doing? Lucian Godfrey, and we are back with once again another episode. And I am in studio with a good friend of mine who, in my opinion, is an expert in property. So we go far back as
Yeah, I think 2018,
2018?
17, 18,
2018,
roundabout. Yeah.
100%. So, family, my guest in studio is none other than Bradley Mahi. I'm sure he needs no introduction, but yeah, it's just a formality. Bradley, how are you doing?
Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are coming in from. I think firstly, let me say, I come into the studio and I say myself, my goodness, this guy. And I must say I'm very proud of what I see. So, we've always been pushing each other,
Sure.
and I think that's what friendship is about. So let me start with saying welcome to your listeners, to your viewers. And I think and I hope that what we put on the table today would be bring value.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
For
yes.
us, we are just chatting like we normally
Yes,
do.
yes, I
There's
know.
no fire yet, but we'll make
Yeah,
a
yeah,
plan.
yeah.
But I think it's gonna be a good hour. People will learn something. I'm hoping they will learn something, and these are things that you get for free. So I believe when you get something for free, take it. There are other people charging you for the same information.
Sure.
So we need to let our people know what is the possibilities. How do you climb? How do you get
Sure.
where you want to be? But for me, it's an honor to be here. It's lekker to be here. And again, good morning. And for those who don't understand the proper English, away.
Our. Really? So I want us to actually to get people to know you because some may know you as Bailey from Boyson's Park. Others may know you as a missionary. Others may know you for the days at Rawson. Others may know you for some business or crypto. Others may only know you as counselor. So share with us who's Bailey, where did you grow up, where are you from?
So look, it's gonna be a 42-year story.
Sure, sure, sure.
41, 42, I stopped counting. But in a nutshell, I think for me to describe and explain who I am is I was born in PE, right?
Yeah.
I grew up. I was born in Salt Lake. We moved to Boyson Park when I was a couple of months old.
Okay.
I grew up in Boyson Park. That is where my life is. My parents are still in Boyson Park. My siblings are still in Boyson Park. So my entire life is in Boyson Park. And that is where I learned, to enjoy myself, to have fun.
Yeah.
We know how to play in the bush. We know how to swim in the dam, in the river. We know how to play soccer with something that's not the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot
We
of
make
bread,
our own.
bread packets together. The sellotape. We know how to make potchicos in the bush with a coffee block, a coffee tin, and 2 meaty bones. We'll fight over who gets the first bite or the sip of a meaty bone.
Yeah.
So these are childhoods that I grew up with, and I mean for me, I can reminisce because I don't see that anymore. So that's something that I always hold dear.
Sure.
So I grew up there. I went to Boyson Park Primary School. From there, I went to Hillside. Hillside, I started dwindling off the road a little bit, got involved with the wrong people, the wrong crowds. Eventually, I got expelled there.
That's now high school, eh?
High school, yeah,
Okay.
Hillside High. Eventually, I got expelled there, found my way into a white school called Otto Duplessis.
Yes, sir.
No, that didn't work out. That didn't work out. And then, yeah, so that is basically my upbringing,
Sure.
right? Northern areas through and through. I then moved, I met my wife. The
Oh,
best
yes.
thing that
Oh,
could
yes.
ever happen in my life. And many people ask me, your vrouw is mooi, your wife is beautiful.
Hoe heb je gemaakt?
And I said, you have to walk with the Lord.
Yes, sir.
Because you pray, you say, Lord, I want it to be like so, like so. If it comes to this part, it must make a curve.
Sure.
And the error, the error is the error. God, the answers prayers. And, so I met my wife many, many years ago. I think 24 years ago. Next year we'll be married for 20 years.
Wow.
And, from the beginning, when we started, we just clicked. We knew what we wanted in each other, but we also I knew what she wanted in her life as a career, as a goal. She knew what I wanted. And we started encouraging and pushing each other. So I met her within, for a small couple of years, small period in our lives, we got involved in an organization called Operation Mobilization. Now,
Okay.
many people don't know OM, like we call them. It's an organization that, easily to describe them, it's the organization that owned the ship called the Doulos.
Yes,
The
yes,
Doulos
yes.
was the world's biggest ship, but it was a library. So
Sure.
it was the biggest floating library in the world.
Yes.
And the Doulos would collect books throughout Europe, US, wherever, and they would bring it to Africa, to other places that has a shortage of books. So we got involved with that organization, and we sort of somehow found ourselves in charge of the stuff happening in Nelson Mandela Bay. That time was still PE.
Yeah.
And we ran OM. So every time the ship docked
Yeah.
in Nelson Mandela Bay, our responsibility was to engage the churches. So all the missionaries that was on the ship would come off, they'll disembark, and they'll now
Yes.
they'll come into our care. And we then need to then find churches to host them. And, that happened a few years, and we were also involved in missionary trips ourselves. We traveled just, I was looking at my passport, and I saw the other day, because my passport expired. And the work that I'm doing now, I got a call to say, you need to go to Israel quickly. I said, oh, my passport expired. So we went to go redo our passports, but I was looking at the stamps on the passport.
Sure.
And you know what? I couldn't count how many countries we've gone to in Africa alone. So we've done Africa right to the top and back.
Sure.
And when I looked at the stamps, most of that was missionary trips.
Yes.
It was Kenya, it was Zimbabwe, it was places that really needed help, And every time I look at the stamp, there's a story that pops up.
Yes.
I remember, and
And this was you and Nadine.
that's just me and Nadine.
Wow.
So that was us, and we were still dating at the time.
Okay.
We got married, and we eventually also went into a couple of years more, and then we then handed it over to the next generation.
Yes.
Which is very important also.
Yes.
So that is the other stint of our lives, and then we got married. We moved to Cape Town, and I think that's where the real estate part comes in. So
Yes.
I had before we got married, I had an engineering business. I was manufacturing industrial fans and components. So all the fans that goes under trains, the speed trains in Europe, we were building that. All the fans that goes into the mines, I was building that. So I had a company with my father and my brother-in-law at the time, and we were building that. And then I had to choose. The Lord sent me now this nice thing.
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
And I'm gonna make her my wife.
Yeah.
Now she's got a direct career path that she wanna achieve.
Sure.
And she has to move to Cape Town to start that. So I needed to decide, how am I gonna support her? She moved in February. We were scheduled to get married in November. So she left a couple of months before. And I think that for me it was an easy decision to make. I left everything here. I said to my dad, look, I'm going to go support her. We got to Cape Town, we bought our first property. She was 21, I was 22, and that's when we first entered the real estate market for the first time. Long story short, we got married that November, and I was now looking for a job.
Sure.
Because the work that I'm doing is back home, and the money we make is not that much to sustain it. It's my manufacturing, Scarl.
Sure.
It's business.
Yeah.
You would know.
Hustling.
So, Yeah, and then eventually I knocked on the door one day. I took her to work, came back. I got lost to my own house. I was new in Cape Town. I was trying to get home, and then I got lost.
Most Cape Townians still use GPS.
So I was one of those. Um, and then I ended up pulling off the road to check waar a sec. Where am I now? And I was parking in front of a Rosen Properties.
Sure.
So I went inside. I actually went outside. I looked at the because normally they have these pictures of houses they are selling on the windows. And I was looking at it, and this white lady, I'll never forget her. Michelle is her name. Michelle Pentelbury. She opened the door, very welcomed and welcoming, and she asked me, "Can I help you, sir?" And you know what? So English for me is not my first language. You know that, and I know that. That the first thing I said to her, "Yes, ek zoek werk." And then I just left it, and then she's like, "Oh, yeah, we are looking for agents."
Okay.
And I didn't know what to respond. I thought she was joking with me because I just said that words without meaning it, without
Sure.
really saying I need a job. And I wasn't in the market to look for a job in real estate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's where things started for me on that day. Um, she invited me in. I met the boss, which was a brilliant colored lady. So I first thought, hey, this white auntie coming out and speaking to me.
Auntie Noli now.
Not Auntie Nolene yet.
okay.
So Michelle is a white lady.
Yes,
She
yes,
works
yes.
for Nolene. And I thought, hey, what means is a black this? These are white companies, you
Yes,
know.
yes, yes.
So I must be prim and proper now.
Sure.
I got inside, hey, brah. Yes, my people, man.
Yes, yes.
Nolene became up until today. She's still one of the mentors
Yes.
that I can say this person shaped my life.
She doesn't even want me to sleep in a hotel when I go to Cape Town.
Yep.
Lucy, was jy alweer hier so geweest? Hoekom het jy nie by my kom slaap?
That's how she is,
She
yeah.
and Uncle Kenny.
Brilliant people,
Brilliant
she
people,
shaped me, and that's where my career started. Real
Sure.
estate started there as a real estate agent. So yeah, she sent me on a course the very next week.
Yes.
So we sat there and we discussed, where are you from? What am I doing? And I told her, no, we just bought the property, and it's in this area, and we bought for this price, and
Sure.
and the property that we bought was a property that one of her agents also marketed.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we
You
went
went
to go
with-
buy from the competitors because,
Sure.
as a person, you don't know
Yeah.
which
Who's
companies you want
Yeah.
the product.
Sure.
Right? If I want coffee, I want coffee. I don't care who's the person.
ShopRite
there.
or Spa.
Yeah. So the person who presents me the coffee first,
Sure.
and I want coffee now,
Yeah.
I'll buy the coffee. And so I said to her, I bought this house. And she said, no, but we also had this house for sale. So now I'm sitting here, hey, I'm asking you for a job.
Yeah.
But I bought the house from the competitors, which means I took the money somewhere else. She understood, and the next week then she just sent me to a course. I think it was a 5-day course. It was one of the things where you got there, you can see this industry is number one, white dominated.
So by now you get the idea. So if you are tired of renting or you just like to buy your next property, what I need you to do is go to the description and go to lucian.com/credit score. And when you complete that practice, you will learn what you actually need to do in order to qualify for your next property. So head on over and do it now and come back to this video and learn what else you can do in order to make sure that you are able to buy at least 10 properties within the next 5 years.
Okay. That's no joke, even up until today. In that course, you'll have 2 black people, maybe 1 or 2 colored people, 60 white people.
Now, the main focus of today is basically I need for you to break down how does one, I'm glad that you are explaining your journey, so we'll go through the journey and then explain in layman's language, how do you break into that market? So by now you get the idea. So if you are tired of renting or you just like to buy your next property, what I need you to do is go to the description and go to lucian.com/guided score. And when you complete that practice, you will learn what you actually need to do in order to qualify for your next property. So head on over and do it now and come back to this video and learn what else you can do in order to make sure that you are able to buy at least 10 properties
one of
within the
biggest
next
things
5 years.
that I draw from it was I learned to master a contract, an agreement, piece of paper. You know, in that course, I learned certain things that if you twist one word, the contract means something totally different. If you change another word, it takes the contract to a different route, right? And sometimes it's to your benefit, and sometimes it works against you, right? Now park that one there. We'll speak about that when you talk about when you buy a house. That is where you need to know what's written in that contract. It can either count against you or it can count in your favor. So entering the industry as an unemployed person is tough. I'm not going to beat around the bush.
Yeah.
You must have muscle. You need financial muscle, or you need some sort of support, either a spouse that has a full-time income, and you pushing into the market.
Yes.
Right. That's the one thing. Next thing you need to know is you can't go in. We started this conversation with the word 100%.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
You cannot go in with 99.6%,
Yes, sir.
99.7%. You need to give it 100%. Because not only as a black person, as a colored person, do you go into a dominated, fully white dominated industry. You are already the back foot.
Sure.
The people buying, the people with the buying power, these are the people that get the bonds. It's the people that has the cash, they have the deposits. It's on that side of the line.
Sure.
Right? So you need to break through even more than that 100%. So consistency is key. Position yourself in a market where you know I can put myself in here, right? I'll make you an example. So, long story short, I went for the course. I became the best rookie agent for that year under Nolene as my mentor, right? The next year, I think I stayed in Cape Town for 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
I sticked with Nolene. I never jumped from company to company. That is one thing you must remember.
Yes.
The moment you jump from company to company, you must know you've got an ego problem.
Okay.
You feel like you've outgrown this company.
Yes,
They
yes.
can no longer take you anywhere. But the money in the industry still comes from the same people.
Sure.
It's from the people buying and selling there. So
Yeah.
they've got no interest in your ego. So leave this thing of jumping from company to company where you feel I'm not valued here or I'll be more valued there. Value is not for them to give it. You
Yeah.
must decide I'm value myself.
Yes,
I'm here
yes.
for money,
Sure.
and that's it. So I stuck with Nolene because I knew that this woman has got something to give me. And only in year 3 did I grasp what she started talking about, right? She took me to a unit. She's got an investment property. You know, up until today, I said to myself, one day I'll get me a property there. That time when I said it, the properties was 580,000. Now that same property is 2.5, 2.8 million. My one day is still gonna come because I love that property. She took me there and she showed me, she introduced me to investment properties. Right. So I parked that one also. I'm just gonna park things around and catch up on it later on so it ties into something.
Sure.
Now, you entered the market. You've identified, I'm going to work in this space, right?
Sure.
Let's say I'm going to come to PE. I'm going to dominate PE. I've already decided I'm going to be consistent. I'll give 100%, nothing less. I've already decided I'll stick to my plan. I won't jump, chip and change.
Sure.
Jump from company to company. I'll stick to my plan because my plan is mine. The company is just a tool. It's a model. It's a vehicle to get me to my plan.
Sure.
Right. So if I change vehicles every day, it's not going to work. It affects your plan. Now, we came to PE. After 3 years, I said to Nolene, my wife and I, my wife has been done with the studies. She's done an internship. She's ready to start a career. She got a job in PE, which was good for us because we wanted to come back home. We wanted to
Sure.
start a family. And we both agreed we're not going to start a family in Cape Town.
Okay.
There was no support, there was no family, nothing.
And life is expensive in Cape
And
Town
life
if you
is
don't know.
expensive. So we said, let's go home. And we came home, we started then our business. And, you know, we grew the consistency of us in Rosen Properties,
Sure.
right? Without jumping ship. The plan that we had and sticking to the vehicle and then also becoming the best
Yeah.
at what you can in that circle.
Sure.
Even if your circle is bigger, but in your small circle become
Yes.
the best, then you enlarge that circle and you become the best. So I became one of the best agents, rookie agents under Nolene. After that, I became somebody that sold the most units in southern and the southern region of the Western Cape.
Sure.
And then I became the rookie agent that makes the most money in southern region of Western Cape. And then, so you sort of climb these things because you keep the consistency part is there.
Sure.
Going to be the best, this is my vehicle. We eventually decided to come back home. And the way we worked with Rosen allowed us to become the first and the youngest franchisee owners without paying a cent for a franchise. And I want to put that there
Yeah.
is that you don't know what happens on the road. The road is long.
Sure.
So you chop and change, you are always changing your road.
Yes.
You go from an M5 to an N2 to a pothole-ridden street when you change your plan. So eventually we got home and that's where our career started in property, but still the business side, not yet the investment. The seed was planted when
Yes.
Nolene took me to Mykonos, Club Mykonos in Langaban.
Sure,
She showed
sure.
me a unit. Yo, you know, that day I drove speedboats, I drove jet skis.
Yes.
The evening I put on a tuxedo. I went on
Sure.
a boat there where you get champagne and sushi and oh, the Jere was good, you know. And that seed was planted, and we came home. We started our business. So that's where Rosen came to. Rosen came to PE when we brought it here. Now
Sure.
you see a lot of companies. Baie wat mense at Rosen.
Sure.
They know
Now
that-
yes.
in Nelson Mandela Bay in PE. They don't know who brought Rosen here. Now, on sports days at school, right? We lived on a corner right next to the school on the fence. So that became our shop. The children would just come to the fence and they would buy from us. But on sports days, everything moved up to the sports field,
Sure.
which means there are now other aunties selling to the children. We are not making money, which means we are not eating tonight. And that
Sure.
was our reality. Now, as young as what I was, and my sister, my older sister, we knew that we needed to help.
Yes.
You know, and I would come to my mother and say, give me some of the stuff, then I'll take it into the schoolyard and I'll sell it. And I did that. You know, I went onto the rugby field, I walked around it, and I sold the vin chips. And I got the money. And one of the teachers called me to say, look, do you have bompies? And we had bompies. I went home and I gave my mother the money, and she was surprised because now we are selling again. There's something.
Sure,
There's
sure,
a, there's
sure.
a, hoe sê hulle? There's a plates plan
Yeah,
for
yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
And
As a potse plan.
a potse plan. A potse plan, correct, yeah. And I took the bompies. And my sister and I, we did that for that entire day. And that day we made more money than what we normally do. Because now there's other schools are there.
Yes,
you
yes,
know.
yes.
So Vinchips is the thing.
Yeah.
Other schools were there playing against our school, so we were selling. And that is where, for me, I knew that if you want to go sleep with something in your stomach, you're going to have to do the uncomfortable thing.
Sure.
Right. So if that's the only thing you take from this
Yes.
podcast, remember that.
You know, I may get hate for this, but I'm not gonna say in which groups. Ne? So in this northern area community groups, what's being discussed there, and now living here, what's being discussed in this group, it's different. People promote their businesses because they realize that we buy every day. So you might as well support someone in your neighborhood. So you build your community. But So now this one say they're doing this one say they're doing that. I put in there, we have a studio here where you can do your podcast, you can do photo shoots, weddings, matric balls, all of those kind of things. They are glad and they support. But in the other groups, it's just a club via owner and what?
Bite, bite. Yeah. Look, that's the reality.
Sure.
It's a reality. It's a mind thing. You know, we are all responsible for our own mindset.
Sure.
And what we want to feed ourselves.
Sure.
I mean, look at me, look at you. I'm probably weighing 30 kilos, 40 kilos more than you. It's a choice.
25.
25, 26, modest. But it's a choice.
Sure.
Right? It's a choice. I have a choice to wake up to go run.
Sure.
But I don't smoke to run.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? We've got a choice of what we feed ourselves. Right? And it's the same in business. There's a saying that I hate with a passion. College supporti makari. I hate that saying.
It's not true.
And it's something that we've positioned ourselves as the truth,
Yeah.
as a fact.
And when you believe it, then you will act that way as
Exactly.
well.
Now, what frustrates me about that is there are people that sit with brilliant business plans, brilliant
Sure.
ideas, but they are consumed with this Tissanakis fact that
Yeah.
colors don't support each other, right? If that was true, I would never have become so successful in the northern areas.
Sure.
Remember, I brought the franchise from Cape Town. I put it in the northern areas first, Corsten.
Yeah.
If that statement was true, I was not going to sell one house because colored supported me. Colored people supported me to the tune of me making the most sales in South Africa for 3 years in a row. Unit sales. Colored supported me to make the most money in the first quarter, in the last quarter of 3 years in the entire country of Rawson Properties. So my business was based there. I'll tell you this. I moved my business, not moved, I expanded to Clary Park, opposite Clary Park, you know, BG's, next
Sure.
to BG's. And we did brilliant there. I then took my business, expanded to Bay West. And
Yes,
then
sir.
it just chowed my money.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
chowed
yeah,
my
yeah.
money. You know, so the colored supported.
Sure.
The challenge was when I went bigger in my circle.
Sure.
Remember, bigger doesn't mean when you fail, embrace it. When I went to Bay West Mall, I have now expanded my small circle to a bigger circle because I wanted to tap into another market.
Yes.
Right? But that does not mean that market will be friendly towards me.
Sure.
I need to do everything I've done in my small circle. Now I need to double it in my big market because these are not my people.
Yeah.
These people, they know where they're buying from. They buy from their agents that's been here for 30 years, 40 years.
Okay.
Right? So mindset
Like
is
your
very important.
Kobe
Potgieter.
Kobe Potgieter. Yes, I see
I
her all
buy-
over for
yeah.
years.
So Kobe Potgieter and Christo Slavert. Christo is my favorite. Christo is not a bullshitter.
Sure.
You get what you get and you don't get upset. You'll tell
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
The house I'm living in now, I bought from Christo. And there was a lot of things that we fought about.
Sure.
And that's where the contract comes in, which we're going to talk about later.
Sure.
And these are guys that position themselves already in their circle.
Sure.
So me broadening my circle is not expanding my business. It's me tapping into their circle
Yeah.
and see what market share I can draw from that. And of course, it's gonna be hostile.
It's not gonna be just
Yeah,
given
I'm
to you.
coming into a space where I don't belong because I've never been there. These guys has made name for themselves, and I'm trying to take from there. So that statement we need to get away from, right?
You are living in Sherwood at this point of time. right?
At that time, I lived in Sherwood. Yeah.
Okay.
So when I came
Yeah,
back
so
from
it makes
Cape Town,
sense.
when I
Sure.
came back from Cape Town, we bought a house in Sherwood. Right, that house. I'll explain to you how I bought that house, how much we paid for that house, and how much I sold that house for, and that's the investment side. So I think to land when it comes to starting a business, irrespective of what it is, Vinchips, Cook Sisters,
Sure.
anything, treat your business like a business.
Sure.
Right? One. Number two, your friends and your family is not your customer. They will never be your customer.
Accept
Make peace with that. Klaar. The people at church, they will not buy from you.
Yeah.
They accept that. Klaar. Right? Your buyer is somebody you have not met yet.
Yes.
You need to find the tool that will take you to your buyer. Whether it's the name of the company, whether it's joining networks, groups. You get networks like BNI and all these things where they meet up, networking sessions.
Sure.
Join these things, especially if it's free. Join them, and then lastly, fix your mind.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself a story, you are the first person to believe that story.
Sure.
So whatever you tell yourself, that is going to be your story, right?
You mentioned earlier that you don't believe in that colors don't support one another. And then secondly, also, your church people, your family and friends are not going to buy from you. So, which is true. And but how do you look at it? So I look at it this way: you can either be positive and say, you know what, chances are that is not what they want at this point of time. But it's also like, for instance, the industry that I got into, or that I'm known for. So people would think that, no man, this guy comes from an informal settlement. He only had one pair of shoes. That's his church shoes, his school shoes. His if he ever goes out,
Like my shirt,
you know,
like my
when he gets
blazer.
out, yeah, when he gets out of school, he must take out that shoes and walk barefoot. You know.
Yeah.
So how can I take advice from this person? So I understand that.
Yeah.
So I don't now that I've had somewhat of success, I don't keep it against people and look at them. You know what? No, you didn't support me when I was starting out, and because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, if you focus on that, then it will just grow, because whatever you focus on grows.
Yeah.
So that is one of the reasons why I believe that people, maybe in your circle, they want to first see the results. Like
Yeah.
when I got started,
Yeah.
my friend said, Lucian, go and get the results, and when you come back, and then we will join you.
Yeah.
Then when I got the results, I came back, and then they said, you know what? It's too late now. The opportunity
missed
is
the
gone.
bus.
So our mind will play games on us.
Yeah,
It will
yeah.
always tell us, give us a reason, and we believe it. We believe it. And the excuse, we believe it. So I'm a firm believer of that. But at the end of the day, people who supported me, maybe from throughout the country, some abroad, I noticed that we have like 40% of people actually, who are, our audience is actually from abroad, and our clients, etc.
And look at us. Yeah, we come from a background. It's Carol to eat. Yeah?
Sure,
And now we're international.
I'm telling you.
I want to latch on to what you're saying about seeing proof first.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're tying it perfectly into the statement that your family don't support, the people you know won't support. I mean, even Jesus' people didn't
Yeah,
recognize it.
Scripture says a prophet will not be known in his own
exactly.
city.
So that make peace with that.
Yeah.
But the challenge with that is that, and I'm bringing it into my space, is that I know friends and I have friends and we are good friends, but because of that notion, some of them still don't own a property today. I still love them as a friend, but I am a little bit disappointed that the tools are here. You could have done, other people are taking it, but it's that closeness I want to first see. And eventually, when you do want to jump on board, the properties are no longer 300,000. They are 3 million now. Do you understand? So there is a time where you can miss it in this industry. And, but that's something you need to sort out internally.
So, Bradley, for the person listening here, who's looking to get started in the real estate industry, what do you do?
Right. So
Or what was your journey like?
my journey was, I started in Cape Town, like I said earlier.
Sure.
Bought my first property there. I was 22, she was 21. We paid 387,000 for the house, right? That time it was a lot of money. It's like 20 years back. 300, that was gevaarlijk. For 500,000 you can get a top-notch house.
Sure.
For a million, ooh, you were the Lani, right? But that house we bought at our first house. So the process there was we needed to prove to the bank we have money.
Yeah.
Right? Not just enough money, we need to prove to the bank that we can manage our money. How do you handle your credit? This is the important thing, because how you handle your
Yes.
credit
Yes.
will determine how many properties you can buy per year. Right?
Sure.
We set a target for ourselves to buy one property a year, but we look after our credit in case there's a deal that pops up,
Sure.
right? And that time you can just go to the bank and get money. Now, to invest, you don't need money. We have something we call OPM, other people's money.
Sure.
Normally the bank's money.
Yeah.
90% of the time, bank's money. So, as somebody that's starting,
Yeah.
you are employed. You might not be employed, you might be self-employed.
Yeah.
Right? Find out what the bank needs from you. If you are employed, you need 3 months bank statements, you need pay slips. These are the easy things.
Yes.
But when you enter the journey, you know already, I want to buy next year.
Sure.
This year is a crucial year.
Must
It's like a
fix it.
call up to the Springboks. You want to make the squad next year,
Sure.
you start your journey now. You start training.
Yes.
So you need to now position yourself, fix your credit.
Yes.
Right? Whoever you owe, you don't have to settle. Don't settle. My advice to everybody, don't settle.
Never.
Right? Never settle. Just pay what you must pay.
Yes.
Right?
Now, I like where we are going now, because so many of us make the mistake. Like after school, I believe that my whole family believed that I need to move to Cape Town. I found a job. I started as soon as I had the first job. In fact, my brother-in-law just finished matric. Now, Edgar's, towards, they send you all of those things. Then you start buying clothes, then you go into debt. You don't know about credit score even. So then you never come out of it, and you rent until the day you die. And now people are not even able to retire because they never fixed their credit score. So, crucial point. Thanks for leading into this.
To add to that, take this as a opening statement. Credit is your friend.
Yes.
In real estate, credit is your friend. If you depend on, I want to buy when I have enough money, you're going to wait 10 to 20 years. By
Sure.
then, you'll pay 3 times the amount for the
Yes.
property. So, start with looking after your credit. Right. If you don't have credit, go open up
Yes.
Ackermans, Mr.
And pay it.
Price. Take a t-shirt, go pay it next month. Take a thing, go pay it next month. So the reason why the banks want you to have credit is because, remember, credit is the only thing that has historical data
Sure.
to show them what kind of person this is.
Sure.
Right? Your wife, when she took you, she did not have historical data. She got what she got.
She took a husk.
She took a risk. Now, banks are governed by certain laws in the country, financial laws. They cannot take certain risks, right? Then it becomes reckless lending.
Sure.
They can be held liable. So banks has got this thing where they have a wall around you. They want to make sure this is a safe person.
Yeah.
So build your credit to the point where, number one, you service your debt
Sure.
every month. Especially if you know I'm going to buy next year, service it every month for 6 to 8 months consecutively.
Sure.
Don't get into arrears, especially those things that can reflect on your credit score. Once you've done that, this is for employed people. Once you've done that, work on saving a deposit if you can. It's not necessary, but if you can, work on saving a deposit. There's cash you're going to need, right?
Sure.
You're going to need transfer fees.
Sure.
You're going to need bond registration fees. So there's two attorneys involved in the process of transferring the house from the seller to the buyer. You will be responsible for that fees, the transfer fees and the bond registration fees. Then there's like small post and petties. But have that money one side so that when you go get your bond, you've got your cash. If you have a deposit, it gives you a better option to get the loan, right? Now the loan is the entry point. The loan is, if you take a loan on 30 years, normally people say, no, I want 20 years, I don't want 30 years. If you don't have an option, and you must take it on 30 years. My bro, take it.
Take it.
If they say 40 years, I will take it.
Sure.
Because it is just the first step. It's your entry inside,
Sure.
right? I'll tell you now how to get rid of the 30 years and what the tools we are using. And it is mind-boggling, right, that these tools has been there.
Yeah.
Right?
We just didn't
We
have
just
the
didn't
knowledge
know
or
about. Nobody
yes.
told us.
Sure.
It's like that group we are in.
Sure.
Yeah, that's kid that, they did that. But
That's
in
all
this
we
group,
talk about.
This group, they are saying, but the lending rate has dropped. You know, so do that as somebody that's employed. Now let's go to somebody that's not employed or you're informally employed. Je verkoopt aardappels, je hebt een markies,
Ja.
je hebt een winkel, je hebt een huiswinkel, je verkoopt perfume, je verkoopt
Sure.
anything informal, right? Take that. I'll use my wife as an example. No, what I praat van perfume. My wife buys perfume. There's a factory in Cape Town. You introduced us.
Sure.
So she buys directly from the factory.
Sure.
And they brand it for her. And she's got this system where she doesn't even touch it. It
Yeah.
goes from there directly to the suppliers.
yeah.
It gets sold. All she sees is money coming in, but it's an informal business,
Sure.
right? So what she then do is she takes that and she pays herself something for 3 months, for 6 months. Now it becomes an income,
Sure.
right? With that income, now you can have your house shop, you can have any business that you run. Vat 'n Markies, ek like die Markies because Markies is a cash business.
Sure.
Markies is money in, money out every single day, right? That guy is making money. The advice to him would be, take your money, put it where the bank can see it consistently every day, right? Create yourself a profile where the banks will say, this money, we can take it into account, but only so much percent. So any commission-based work, you can go to the bank and get the loan, but it will be only so much percent. They'll give you 80%, maybe 70%.
Sure.
So you'll still need to work a little bit harder, right? Also, service your debt. Open up an account, pay that account. You just want to get through the door. The door is that first bond approval letter.
Yes.
That is the opening of the door. Once you're in, Masterkind, the rest is history.
Is history.
The first one, I saw one of your status, you said, it's easier to make 50,000 than it is to make a 10,000.
Yes.
And what I took from that is that the 10,000 is hard to make.
Yeah. But
Especially
once you
with your
break
first.
through,
Once you break through, you are there. You don't look back to that again. So your first property will be the hardest because you need to prove here,
Sure.
I can make this, right? Now, depending on what you want to do, I'm going to speak now to the investor,
sure.
right? I'm going to tell you what I have done and what I'm still doing, right? So after I left my business here, went to Cape Town, came into the real estate industry, I already decided I'm never going to have a formal job,
Sure.
a clock in. I'm never going to have that because my wife has that. And we've decided, all right, you have that, which is the safety
Yes.
net.
Stability and
I
then
will
the
push
husk.
this Carl. And it worked for us.
Sure.
I mean, it worked like a bomb. But you must have a commitment.
Sure.
Don't just jump into it because now Bradley said there on the podcast.
Yes.
Het je gehoord?
Ik moet mijn werk
Ja.
los. Je wil lang al je werk los.
Je wil lang kan je werk los Bradley uit. So now, once you are in, right, you buying this property as an investment, right? Go buy the ugliest house. The ugliest house. That house must fall uit mekaar. It must be so blended up that it's really ugly. Ugly
Sure.
people must say it's ugly. You see? So if I say it's ugly, I'm an ugly person. It means I'm identified. that was a side joke I brought in. I hope they caught it. I'm not really funny, but now and then I got my moments. So buy the ugliest house.
Reminds me of your MC days as well.
I used to, yeah,
if
I
we
used-
had time.
I used to MC. I never got paid for MC, by the way. I wonder can't I send it invoices? But so buy the ugliest house, right? And spend money on it. It's easier to buy, to take a house that you bought for 100,000. And the ceiling of the area, houses are still selling there for 1 million, 2 million.
Sure.
It's easy to take that house, spend another 200,000 on it. So then it competes with the millions.
Yeah.
Then what it is, then what it is to take a 950,000 house and you've reached your ceiling of 1 million. So I'm going to tell you about the house I bought in Sherwood. I bought the house in Sherwood for 350,000, 366,000. 306, here's the number, 366,200 rand.
Sure.
Right? I'll never forget that house. My children were born in that house. It was that was a house where we decided this can become a liability because
Okay.
it's ours.
Yes, it's home.
It's home. Right? We
Yeah.
don't put a price on home. Kids were born there.
So for those who don't maybe understand, like if you buy a house and it doesn't generate income for you, even though you stay in it, it is a liability.
Yeah.
Unless you are going to maybe build more properties on it or have your business office
Yeah.
from there and get rent from it. But yeah, go for it.
So that we chose we're gonna accept this liability because it comes from our pocket.
Sure.
But when somebody else pays it, it becomes
Yeah.
an asset. Only then it becomes an asset. Correctly said there. So we bought it for 366,200 rand. That was bought on a Nedbank online auction. So we were still in Cape Town. We were looking at houses. We didn't know where we're gonna move to after we sold that house. The Cape Town one we bought for 300 and something thousand, 60,000. We sold for over 900,000. That's how quickly
Wow.
the market moved in Cape Town.
In a matter of how many years?
About 3.5 years.
Wow.
So that is how the market moved in Cape Town. That same houses today in Cape Town, 1.2, 1.5, it's just crazy, man.
Sure.
And I mean, that house was so small, you turn around,
Yeah.
you've seen it all, you know. So then we moved to PE, we saw this online. So Nolin taught me to buy property.
Yes, yes.
Nolin taught me to go into investment side.
Family, sorry to get in there. If you are buying property in Kilserver, Cape Town, Auntie Nolin Snyder is your person. Rosens, Kilserver, she's your person. And I mean, she's also open to help anyone, even if you're not going to buy, even if she won't be like your agent to actually sell the property,
Yeah.
she'll give you advice that, 70 years of advice.
Say Easter.
proceed.
No,
Yes.
definitely. Cape Town, buy through her. You won't be sorry. You don't buy, it's not a transaction for her, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Nolin doesn't have to work anymore.
sure.
For her, it's helping.
Yes,
So we came home. She then said, look here, check on the auctions.
Sure.
She was very sad that we left Cape Town, but she understood. We are just going there. She's still here. We are still family, even up until today. I then got the deal on auction in Nedbank. And you know what, I became so direct with my intentions that I picked up the phone. Now, it is an online auction, but I picked up the phone and I asked, what offer must I put in to be accepted? And the guys they won't tell you. But somehow I just heard a number. And I knew it was between 300 and 400,000. But when I analyzed the market, 400,000 was a little bit much for the house. So I just said to my wife one day, let's just put the number down. And then she put 366,200. I don't know where the 200.
Yeah.
You know, women, they are very, I actually want to ask her, why the 200?
It's actually a strategy. They say, let's say when you build your business and you say no, and you're selling, you want a million for it. Then the investors knows that it's a round number. You just thought it up. But if you put like that number 200, and like, no, this person calculated, and
Yeah.
So
So eventually we got the house. So it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, double garage, lounge, dining room. Nothing we had. 3 times the size of the house we had in Cape Town. For the same price we bought in Cape Town.
yeah, that's Cape Town for you.
That house we then had became our liability because everything we paid on that house came from our pockets. We had to work for. Directly after that, we started buying. The same year, we bought another property, right? So how we did that is we sort of saved up. So you must pay your bond on the house that you're living in.
Sure.
You must pay your bond. But you need to find ways to make more money so that the bank can see you can afford another bond. Do you understand?
Okay. Here is where people need to tune in now and listen very
I'll
carefully.
speak nicely. I'll speak very, very nicely on this
Sure.
one. Show to the bank you can afford it, then the bank will give it. The bank doesn't know you. They've got no interest in Luciano.
They don't care who you are.
They don't care. They've never seen you. Only thing that makes sense to them is what is on paper, what is in your bank statement, and how you manage your credit. So we started saving. We deliberately decided to only have children 4 years into our marriage. Because the plan that we had, we knew we need to go this route.
Sure.
And once we get to a certain number of properties, we don't have to go scratch in our pockets
Sure.
again. Then we kan ons maar gaan kinders maak.
So
You see?
Jaden and Chloe had to wait a bit.
Yeah, they had to wait. They had to wait. They could have been done with school by now, but they had to wait. The plan was important. So we started buying that first investment property. Now, investment property is when you buy the house, it's got nothing to do with you.
Yes,
So
yes,
number
yes.
one, forget about liking the house. Forget about liking the area. Forget about all these feelings that you have and see a transaction in front of you.
Sure.
Remember, somebody's going to live in that house. It will become their dream house.
Sure.
They are going to pay you and you're going to pay the bank. So you become a middleman for paying an asset off that becomes part of your pension fund portfolio.
Sure.
Right. So we bought that first property after our liability property. Our liability property is our house.
Sure.
Right? We then put tenants in. We had a very specific thing that we look for. We look for properties that is the ugliest in
Yeah.
a nice area. So if I can buy the ugly thing
Sure.
and I can fix it up, make it like a place like where we are now,
Okay.
I can show the people, look at what you are buying in this nice area. They don't know what the house looked like.
Yes.
It was a dump. You
Yes.
fixed it up. Now you are paying ceiling price. Ceiling price is the highest amount you can get in
Yes.
the area, right?
Yes.
Some areas when you buy, you know for a fact you can only be there for 5 years.
Sure.
Because then your investments become stale, right? So you buy your first property, you put in a tenant. Remember, when you put in a tenant, you become the bank.
Yeah.
The same way the bank treats you, you treat a tenant.
Yes.
Don't get too personal.
Sure.
If you must remove a tenant, let them go, you have to let them go.
Because the bank will remove you.
The bank will remove you as quickly as they've default.
Sure.
So make sure you check their credit. It cost you 35 Rand to do a credit check through
Wow.
a bond originator. There are free credit checks. So check your tenants out. If you see, hey, there's a lot of defaults, click next.
Yes.
Now remember, the family and friends that did not want to do business with you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
don't do business with them in this. Be careful, right? That's a personal thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's,
I've realized oftentimes my close circle, they when they need favors, and then they would, for some reason, believe that no, Lucian doesn't know this, or he forgot about this, or he doesn't need this, so I can just skip rent now,
Exactly.
because I can see on Facebook
Yeah.
he's, you know what?
Yeah, don't jeopardize your investment or
Sure.
the future of your investments because you want to do favors, especially to family and friends. So put your tenant in. Your tenant will pay you rent for 3 months, right? They'll pay you rent for another 3 months. So that's 6 months. Once your tenant has paid you rent for 6 months into your bank account, the bank sees that as an income, right? Now remember your first property, you are paying from your pocket because
Yes.
you live there.
Yes,
You had to generate extra income or save monthly to pay the new property.
sure.
Right. Now, that tenant is paying that property, which means the money you have extra that was supposed to pay the property,
Sure.
you've got access to it again. Right?
Sure.
Plus, that tenant is paying that house, which services your bond, services your insurance, services water accounts. Right? So that liability is now taken away from you. You can prove to the bank, I've got money to buy another property.
Sure.
Then you go directly after that, you go buy another one. Give yourself 3 to 6 months between buying so that you can save up transfer cost, bank
Sure.
fees, bond registration fees, just so that you are don't put yourself in a position where you are cash strapped. You'll always need money to fix a house. Right.
So what you are saying is within 10 years, you can build a property portfolio of, like, let's say 10 houses.
Give or take 10 houses, 5 years, you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
If
If
you
a person
cruise,
wants cruise and not
if you
be too
cruise,
husky.
you can have 10 properties in 5 years. I say try for 2 a year.
Okay.
Settle for 1 a year. Don't
Sure.
settle for 1 every 2 years or every 3 years. What you must understand, right? So here's where it becomes interesting. So where we live now, it's very nice area. It's a very expensive area. It's a very nice house. And many people that visit us, you were there. I mean, you are part of our close circle. You came to our housewarming party. And you could understand how we can afford to live here.
Sure.
Others come there, they do not know. Ek het al gehoor, ek verkoop hulle.
And, and that is why this podcast exists, so people can learn the ways on how they can actually also achieve it. And I don't want them to look at this podcast as, oh, it's so nice, like you're watching Seven the Land. No, you
Take
come here, you
action.
to school, you must learn and implement.
Yeah. So here's where it gets exciting, right? It's using OPM, other people's money, to make you money, not just in this long term, but in the short term. When I say short term, I'm saying between 1 and 3 years, right? Now,
Sure.
how we manage to buy now what we want to enjoy, is the following. The houses we buy today, we buy it at a certain amount, right? So let's say the market value of that area is $1 million, right? There's a house, I'll make you an example. There's a house I bought in Mount Pleasant. I sold my house in Sherwood to buy this house. In Sherwood, I reached the ceiling,
Yeah.
right? I've
Yeah.
done everything to the house that I could
Yes.
to get it to the ceiling price.
Sure.
The ceiling means it will no longer sell for more than that,
Yes.
because the area does not allow it. The banks does not finance for more than that in this area. So I'm done there, right? As an investment, I can keep on renting it out, but I'll be kept if I need cash any given time. We sold that one. We bought, that one was nice. We made that house nice in Sherwood. Yeah, it was my hard day geweest. And we bought the ugliest house in Mount Pleasant, right? For more or less that amount. We paid just under $1 million for it.
Sure.
So Mount Pleasant has got a ceiling of 2.7, right? But if you go closer to Mount Pleasant, Malavmo Park, you can push your ceiling to 3 million, 3.2. So I released the ceiling, I sold the ceiling price of 1.2 million. I bought a very ugly house, ugly house that has the potential to go all the way up to 3.2 million, right? And I'm still in the process
Yes.
of making that house into that,
Sure.
taking it up to the ceiling. Now, where it gets interesting is that house, when I bought it at just under $1 million. It's no longer worth under $1 million. It's worth 1.5 million. Now, what does
Wow.
that mean? It means that I've got $500,000 reserve that I can tap
You can go to the
into.
bank and say, give me my money.
Yeah. I can go to the bank and say, I've got a tenant here, I've got 2 tenants on this property. Here's my income. I can afford to take a full bond of 2 million.
Sure.
That 2 million, I'll take it. It's cash in my hands. I don't have to pay a cent tax on that money,
Sure.
because it's not a profit that I'm making.
Yes.
It's a loan that
It's a
I'm
loan.
taking against my own asset, and a tenant that is in my property serves my liability on that asset. So I'm just going to collect cash every single year when I need it. So I'm going to summarize that part, because it's the most important thing. It's where you want to be as an investor. You buy a house every year, cheapy, start with cheapies, go up, put a tenant in. Next year, that house is no longer valued the same price, because houses don't stay the same price. They climb at least 10 to 15%. Other areas climb 20%, right? Next year, that house is worth more. That more, it's excess you have. It's cash excess, right? Leave that for now. Go to your second house. Buy a third house. When you get to your third year, You go back to the house you bought in the first year.
Sure.
You go see how much reserves is there. I bought for 1 million. The house is worth 1.6. I've got 600. Write it down.
Sure.
You go to the house that you bought in the second year. Bought for 1 million, 1.3. You add 600 plus 1.3. Now, what you need to do is you need to calculate that the tenants you have in your properties, their rent escalates every year with 10%. Some go as high as 12%. If these tenants has escalated, you are by year 3. So the property you bought in year 1, that tenant has been paying 10% this year, another 10% next year, another 10%. So his monthly rental has increased by close to 33%. Right? Which means by the time you want to go fetch that 600,000 from the bank on that property,
Yeah.
your tenant's increase will allow him to pay for the full amount that you're going to take, the 1 million that you paid plus the 600 that you are taking now. So you are taking cash and your tenant's increase every year is paying you rental on that cash. You are not making a cent. You are not paying a cent
Yeah.
on tax. This is cash in your pocket. You can now go and buy you a Lovemore house, Lovemore Heights, Lovemore Park, a plot. You can buy you a boat. You can buy you things that you want to really achieve. And that's the system that you use. Now, it's not a new system. It's a system so old. Everybody knows that's been in the other side of the group. The other
Yeah,
WhatsApp
yes,
group.
yes.
They know this because their parents has told them. You know, it's amazing. And I wanna share this one. I sold a farm one day, and the guy that owned the farm was younger than me. I sold the farm for 23 million rand. And that thing baffled me, how this guy can own a farm for 23 million. And I later understood that this guy, when they speak these things.
I'm trying to think now. 20, how old was he? Younger, he was younger than you.
He was younger than me. I was, so 2012. Yo, I must count now.
Yeah, let's say
I'd say
13
around
years
about
ago.
13
But
years ago.
You were
I was
approaching
about
30 years old.
He was about 27, 26.
So I'm looking from his position. How did he get that? Probably from his parents. But I'm looking at the real estate agent earning 5%. 5% of 23 million.
So I can tell you how much money I made on that deal, our commission. So you don't normally get full commission.
Sure.
You on big deals you discuss.
Yeah.
But that deal I did with a white agent, Bill, what's his name? Bill, denk ek. He was from Jeffreys Bay.
Sure.
So the seller was his client, the buyer was my client. And I think both of us, we made about just so 23 million. I think we got 3.5% on that commission.
Yeah.
So we made a nice. I made more than
Sure.
$500,000
Sure.
on that deal.
On one deal.
Yeah, but it doesn't come every day.
Sure.
You know, so you must stretch it out.
Sure.
Stretch it out until the next one comes. And it's something that you must learn. Learn to save in this industry.
Sure.
You are real estate industry. In the industry, don't eat money.
Sure.
Save money, because if you don't sell, you don't pay.
Yeah.
Sani. So yeah, I think if we get this thing right, man, Lucian, you know how many curses we can break of having to
Generational.
move over and over and over. And you know the heartbreaking thing is that I'm in a position now to give people a place over their head, a roof over their head, right? But I cannot become emotional about it. If you default, you have to go. And sometimes it's families that have to go. If you become emotional, if you take your foot off the pedal, you are going to lose.
Sure.
Nobody else is going to lose. That tenant will find another house and they'll sleep comfortable while you are fighting with the banks to try and keep your assets. So treat it as a business. Then you will be successful. It's a long game, but it's a lucrative game. It's a lucrative game. And you might say, yeah, you started when you were young, right? And the principle is still the same. It does not matter when you start. The important thing is that you start, right? You might get there when you are 50. I'm there when I was 40 or 30, but you might get there when you're 40, but you will get there because you start. It's
Yes,
the principle.
you need to
A
start.
start gives you a get,
Sure.
right? Getting there needs a start. So I want to encourage the guys, man, dig into it. Anybody can do it. You work by spa, you can buy a house. I've seen people having to ration their slips,
Yeah.
pay slips, SEPs, policemen, as good as the work they are doing. I've seen their pay slips already. I've worked with many of them. Some we had to take through a counseling period where I phone you and I phone your wife and I say, today is this day, don't forget to pay the count. Pay Ackermans, pay Mr. Price, just so that we can get you to the point where you are bond ready to enter that market. Because they don't earn a lot of money.
Sure.
But even that, you can put a plan on the table and you can get your foot in the door. Anybody can do it. The Obistraat, Groenteman, sure, bro, you can do it. I've seen it over and over and over, how these guys become successful. So yeah, man, yeah, it's onze tijd now. It's onze
100%.
tijd. I thrive, I get excited when you tell me, yo, I bought this property, I bought it, and I'm building here. I think of myself, yo,
Sure.
praise it. Because I know where we come from.
Yes, yes,
it's,
yes.
It's difficult to break through,
Sure.
and you are there.
Yes.
Now, when people get to your place, they don't understand,
Yeah.
right? And that's why my wife don't like many people just coming around. Not because we don't like people. I don't survive without people.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
Lockdown, I remember you were like,
Lockdown,
hey,
I
yo.
went insane. and it was crazy. So
Sure.
I need people
My wife
around
is the
me.
same.
But I understand her as well.
Sure.
She knows when people get to our home, the first thing they look is, but by my house you have to drive up a driveway
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
before you get to the house. You don't see the house.
You see the ocean, what? 180?
There's a yeah. So you see
Big
the
view.
ocean. On a clear day, you can see the ships and everything.
Sure.
But I know she's a very humble person, and she takes what people think, man.
Sure.
And many times the wrong people will get to your place and they'll think whatever they want to think,
Sure.
not knowing the hard work that went into that.
Yeah.
So she would rather stay away from that. No,
Sure.
let's go buy there.
Yeah.
Let's go there. But yeah, so with that said, let us go get the property market. It's for the taking. It's not going anywhere. Your children are going to pay a lot of money for property. The least you can do today is set them up
Sure.
to buy from you, not to get for free. My children's not going to get for free.
Yeah.
They will buy from me,
Yeah.
but they will buy from me at least at a good rate.
100%.
Something that we are working on to make sure, hey, the kinders bro.
I always, I always remind my kids, guys, you are starting with zero.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important. It's important, bro.
So, Brad, you touched on something important in terms of getting your credit score up. I used to actually shy away from getting consultation. I remember you spoke earlier and you said you had to literally call people up and say, hey, you must pay your debt, it's that time, etc. So people shy away from it. But I couldn't break through or qualify to buy a property in the area that I wanted until I actually reached out. And once I actually reached out, so some people are like, they don't want to actually do that because they feel like, you know what, I'm going to be put in a box. But you are in that box for a short period of time. And but once you are clear, then the sky is the limit, because then you can buy your first property, then you can buy your second property, and within 10 years you can have 10 properties. And I mean, for anyone looking to actually get them ready to buy a property, comment property if you're watching on social media or YouTube, etc. And yeah, so I believe that this is not the last that we are actually discussing this.
No,
so
definitely.
We have a community, and in there people will be able to get into contact and then get some more expert advice from Mr. Mai.
Yeah. So I think in closing, that what you said now is so important. we call it the uncomfortable zone, right?
Sure.
You don't want people in your personal space, but you still want the desired result,
Sure.
right? So that's where the pride comes in a little bit.
Sure.
You know, so release yourself of that pride a little bit,
Yes.
right? Take the advice, especially if it's free. Take the advice, get that counseling process,
Sure.
and it does work. 100% of the time, it always works.
Sure.
You do have cases where you still have sitting with friends that don't want to take the advice, and they're still sitting without a property, and that's the sad part of it. But that comfort zone,
Yes.
where you find yourselves in, I want to block myself from people knowing, no, I've got this credit and that credit. Just put it in your pocket, put it right in
Yeah.
your pocket, reach out.
Yes.
And then you has people that will guide you, will sit with you. We can connect you with the
Yes.
right people,
Yes.
right? That will walk a journey with you.
Yeah.
And for them, it's nothing personal. It's
Yeah.
to help you succeed.
Sure.
And they get business in the end of the day as well. So
100%.
yeah, it's time for us to get that roofs massacre.
Yes, sir. Break the ceiling
Break
and
the
get into
ceiling.
it. Mr. Mahe, thank you so much for
Always.
being here, and it's always good
Always,
speaking to
always.
you. I know you shared a wealth of knowledge here today,
Sure.
and I really, really appreciate it, and the sacrifice that you've made. So yeah, thank you so much.
Always a
once
pleasure to
again.
the listeners. Good evening
Oh yeah.
or away.
Thank you so much, everyone,
Sharp,
for tuning
guys.
in. See you on our next podcast. See you on our next episode.